A beautiful afternoon to you, wherever you're getting us from. Mazambuka Radio is where you are at. The time is at 13:22. Welcome to this special interview. And in the studios today, we are privileged to have Socialist Party President, Dr. Fred Membe. Good afternoon, Doctor, and welcome to Mazambuka.
Thank you very much for receiving us here, hosting us. Greetings to all in Mazambuka and Southern Province, Yawuti, Shango Kafera, Remy Posha Wonse, right in Southern Province.
All right, Kwarumba, Rapati, Mosila. We also have Dr. Fred Membe's campaign manager, Honorable Bob Sichinga, who is also former Minister of Agriculture, Livestock and Fisheries, and also Commerce and Trade Industries. Good afternoon and welcome to Mazambuka.
Good afternoon to you, Jacob, and also the people of Mazambuka. Maribu Yawuti Rasa. And I want to say also that it's a pleasure for us to be here with Dr. Membe. This is the time that has been allocated to us by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to undertake our presidential campaign in the Southern Province. So we'll be here for 2 days and then after we are going to move to Eastern Province. We've already been to other places, including the Northwestern, the Copper Belt, we've also been to Central, and so we are continuing this journey. The next one from Southern Province will be Eastern Province. So it's my pleasure to be here with you in the Southern Province, and as some of you might know, I used to be Vice President of UPND under Mr. Mazambuka from 2001 to 2005.
Okay, we'll get to that history later on. We also have Mazambuka Central aspiring candidates and the Socialist Party, Mr. David Masumba. Good afternoon, Omunene.
Twarumba bajagobo twalibiraga bwoti tugomba kutambula ali district y'Amasabo kubana n'abanamalera ubuzima.
Kalumba, you mentioned that you'll be here for some 2 days. Doing campaigns or just mobilizing?
No. This is the time that the Electoral Commission of Zambia has allocated each presidential candidate. Remember, there were 14 of them that were tabled, and so they were allocated time. Each one of them was allocated time by the Electoral Commission of Zambia to visit the provinces to avoid clashing, where everybody went as they liked, which I think was to give us order. So we are here not just in Mazambuka, but we're in Southern Province for this period. Unfortunately, our visit has also been interfered with another candidate in form of HH, who is coming here tomorrow, and yet we are supposed to be here. So it's another source of worry that if our programs are being interfered with, it means that we have reduced time to discuss these issues with people of Southern Province.
All right, so meaning you said you'd be here for a number of few days.
Yes.
So meaning your campaign trial will be cut short?
No, we will go. Yes, it is going to be cut short because obviously we lose a day. But we're also going to go to Toma. We're going to go to Palomo. We're going to go to Livingston. We're going to go to Zimula. And we hope that we'll go elsewhere during the time that has been allocated as officially the Electoral Commission. So we just want the people of Southern Province to know it's not that we're avoiding them. It's just that our program is being interfered with.
Okay. Doctor, we have about 23 or 24 days left. Thereabouts, yeah. How are campaigns going?
They are hectic. The time that is allocated is too small. We have 5 days for each province. 5 days for provinces that have been more than 20 districts. And that are space. If you look at Southern Province, you start from the state, come to Manala, come to Mwanzi, Choma, you have Gwembe, you have Sinazongo, you have Sinazezi, then you go to Kivundi, Siavonga, then you go to Livingston, Kajangula, in 5 days. How do you move? And you have just come out of Western Province, where you also had 5 days. So it's not easy.
Okay. Well, the UPND are seemingly managing to campaign. In a game, we hit 3 points.
First week of the helicopter, they are flying as they please.
Nobody else is.
Nobody is allowed to fly a helicopter. Only
Even when you own a helicopter, you
even
can't
if you
fly.
hire a helicopter, they won't give you a license to fly. That is not new.
Is
Their
it
predecessors
just during,
did the same to us.
is it just during this period, or that is the rule that is there?
It's just during this period. It's just during this period. They are not giving the tourists to fly. And I'm saying we are not the first one to do that. The PF environment also did the same to us. We hired the helicopter, we hired the fixed wing aircraft. We were not allowed to fly the helicopter at all. We were only allowed twice to fly the fixed wing. One to go to Mongo from Lusaka, the other to go to the Kasama from Lusaka. That was all. We are still all demanded by the air charter. So it's not easy. And secondly, we have fixed timetables. Mr. Ichilema doesn't have a fixed timetable. He can go wherever he wants at any time.
The law allows him.
It's not the law. The law does not fix timetables.
Or it become a practice.
It's a practice that is there.
But the president can be anywhere.
Yes.
And the moment he's in that particular area, nobody else can have meetings. That's personal business.
Okay.
But it's not a law.
It's not a law.
Yes, there's no something.
Okay. Just take us through how are your chances of winning this election? You have participated in three elections.
The chances of winning an election are determined by many factors. Firstly, they start immediately after the conclusion of one election. After the conclusion of the 2021 elections, preparations for this year's elections started. You have to look at how the democratic space had been organized and been managed over that period. Over the last 5 years, nobody was allowed to hold meetings. We were denied permits to hold rallies 34 times in a period of close to 5 years. But Mr. Hitlema was holding rallies throughout these 5 years.
Well, government challenged that saying you just didn't want to hold rallies because you didn't have, I don't know, the people to come to those rallies.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I've told you we applied 34 times. So where is the truth? 34 times denied. How do you apply 34 times when you don't want to hold the rally? And how are you going to hold the rally when you're told not? One of the 34 times we were given a permit in a kid, Tanganamai. We tried to get there in the morning at 8. The police had surrounded the whole thing and they cancelled the permit.
On what grounds?
They didn't do that.
They don't provide grounds. And this is a major issue. We talk about how well we can do. It's not possible to do that in an environment which has got limited political space. That's what we're just saying to you. It is not possible. It is not a level playing field. It is not equitable. It is not fair. It's not ground where you can say it is opportunities are given in the same way to everybody in this particular place. And it's deliberate. Because if the police have set on you, even when you are holding a press conference indoors, the police are sent to that particular place. What do you do? And they are armed. They are equipped for riots and so on and so forth. What do? They threaten the owners of the hotels where you want to have a meeting. What happens? So the 34 times obviously is evidence. These are applications that have been made and were not granted.
Okay.
And it's not only the rallies, even small meetings. You know, a party needs to organize itself. Also, our people were arrested. The person for Northern Province, this is Matilda Long, was arrested together with a few other officials for just stopping over in a what? In the mountain to greet and get a report from the ward leadership. They were arrested and spent a night in a Ruingu police cell. Just to visit the ward, the provincial leadership, just stopping over for a few minutes. The UPN that have phoned the police and the police will come and arrest. Those are the conditions under which we have operated over the last 5 years of UPN of this national.
Okay, so this goes back to the Public Order Act. According to you, of course, it didn't pass into law. How do you look at it in its form? Is it serving its purpose and serving the interests of the nation?
When the UPND was in opposition, it made statements. Mr. Hitlema made statements related to that you know they refused the Public Order. They got into government. 5 years has passed. There's no change of that much. Every opposition political party has been opposed. Or everyone who has been in opposition has been opposed to Public Order in this current form. But no one has taken it. Even attempts to change it under the MMD failed.
But if we look at the provisions, of course there were talks of any number of 3 people needs to get a permit for them to meet. Those were some of the clauses in the...
Was that the reason?
Well, they didn't pass it. Obviously, they should be commended for not passing.
No.
Commended for what?
For not passing a bad law.
No. Jacob, who made that bad law? Do you know how laws are made, how bills are made? That bill went to the cabinet. It was approved by Mr. Ichilema himself and sent to Parliament. It was sent by Mr. Ichilema to Parliament. With his whole cabinet, the whole cabinet decided to approve that. It came from his Attorney General, it came from his Solicitor General, it came from the Minister of Justice. Went to cabinet. Cabinet passed, which is chaired by Mr. Ichilema. They took it to Parliament. It passed all the stages. All the MPs of UPND supported that bill in this kind of form. And it was those bills were trying to pass at the last minute before the elections. Last minute before the elections. Holding back even the dissolution of Parliament. Then Mr. Ichilema, seeing the pressure that was there, says, I can't sign this. He can't sign a bill that he had passed, that he had approved to go to Parliament. Does that make sense?
Obviously,
and he should be praised for that.
He approved it so that it can be debated.
You mess up. You fail to clean your mess up, you should be praised. Come on, let's be serious.
Jacob,
let's not waste time. Let's move on to another question.
I have more important things to talk about.
So we have only 1 hour.
Okay. Let's talk about the unprecedented developments under the UPND. They have raised CDF from 1.6 to 40 million now. Obviously, that's commendable. No other government has done that.
What is CDF?
Constituency Development Fund.
What is the percentage of CDF of the whole budget?
Around 2.something%.
And where does the money for CDF come from?
Well, we were told that the money which was cut from subsidies and whatnot.
Look, it's simple. You take money from your left pocket, you put it in your right pocket, and you start to spend it in your right pocket, and you praise yourself that you have done something, or you take money from your right pocket and put it in your left pocket and start to spend it from your left pocket, and you need praise for that. You have done something very commendable. You take money from the Minister of Health, you go and buy an ambulance under CDF. Then you have done something marvelous. Instead of buying that ambulance from the Ministry of Health, you take money from the Ministry of Home Affairs, you take it to CDF and buy a police land cruiser. Then you have achieved something marvelous. It doesn't make sense. Let me explain to you. The constituency development fund was not meant to be a development center. There is no capacity at the constituency to carry out the developmental programs. Developmental programs are carried out at the districts. They are carried out at the district. The constituency is a legislative center. It's not an administrative center or development center. It's a legislative center. The member of parliament is a legislator. It's not an executive, not an administrator. There is no proper office. There are no there are no officials there. You don't have planners at the constituency level. You don't have accountants there. You don't have auditors there. You don't have engineers there. You don't have anything. Those are at the district council. That's where that expertise is. And that's why it's so easy to create a district, because it's an administrative instrument. You just need a statutory instrument to create a district. The president can create a district at any time. The president can create a province at any time. But you can't create a constituency just anyhow, because it's a legislative activity. It's not for the people that you want to use it. It has no capacity, it has no officials. And when you look at CDF's strictly, it's just money being given to ruling party cadres.
Cadres?
Yes. You give them contracts to build a 2x3 in the classroom. You give them contracts to do this and that. Yes, it just sharing for cadres.
It's empowering the local community and the local residents.
If it is empowering, why is poverty still growing? You have poverty today of 64% national average. You have rural poverty today of 78.8%. Urban poverty has risen from 24% to 51.8%. Even in southern provinces, poverty has not gone down, poverty has gone up. Unemployment is still rising. Over 60% of your people are unemployed, especially the young people. You have 70% of your population below the age of 70, or below the age of 35. And these people are suffering high levels of unemployment. They finish school, they finish college, they finish university, they've got no job. Agriculture, that is supposed to be the mainstay of our economy. Employing direct and indirect about 80% of the population is only producing 3.5% of the GDP. Only 3.5% of the GDP. If the CDF was a success, would we have the poverty levels we are having?
It's just been 5 years, but there is commendable progress.
Who told you that? Look at the statistics. Look, you're a professional. Give me the figures. Give me the figures how they have moved. I can give you the figures from Central Statistics, from Zamstat. The figures I'm talking about are from Zamstat. So don't just revert to statements that you cannot back. Give me the backing you don't have. What you are claiming there is political statements that are being made by UPND officials. And you, a journalist, you keep on writing that to us. Please, listen. If you make such statements, give me the figures.
The figures, of course, we're looking at what CDF has done so far. We have seen 1 by 3 classroom blocks being built across the country. That's unprecedented. We have seen also, like you said, the ambulances.
Don't call the language of a political
we are talking.
This is sad. You're a journalist. Use language that is of a journalist.
We are talking about.
Use language of a journalist.
That's what I'm talking about, Doctor. We are talking about. You are saying what have we seen? We have seen all this happening. Unless if you're saying you're not seeing anything from CDF, Doctor.
Can I just help you with this? When you present a budget package, you're supposed to include everything including the construction of classroom blocks, hospitals, airports, all the other things that you're talking about that have been done under CDF. All that has happened, they have just put a level of CDF. Because under the provincial administration, there's provision for all the activities that you want to do at the district level and at the constituency level. If you haven't put it in the budget, it can't happen. And yet the president goes around and says, well, I'm going to put a university here, I'm going to do this. But there's no provision for it in there. So just because you put a level of CDF does not mean that therefore you have achieved something marvelous. Because there was nothing to stop it from being included in the first place without it having a level of CDF.
Okay.
And I'm saying to you as a parliamentarian, as somebody who's been in parliament for 13 years.
13 years.
So I'm telling you, this is just a label. It's politicking. And that's what we're saying to you. That does not answer the question. What was there to stop those buildings that are being done under CDF being done back? What was there to stop it? It's an allocation process. And there's what we call the appropriation bill. The appropriation bill is what the parliament passes, right? Which will include the CDF, because you can't spend money that has not been approved by parliament. So what you are repeating is basically the rhetoric of the political movement called UPND. And we're saying to you, it is unfounded. If there's nothing that would have stopped CDF from being allocated under the normal budgeting process, under the Planning and Budgeting Act of 2020, that's exactly what it is done. It's empowering the communities to do just that. But they must have resources allocated to them. That's why we say don't regurgitate what the political side is. Let's look at the technical side. Let's look at the financial side. Let's look at the developmental side. There was nothing to stop CDF, the construction of schools and hospitals and clinics and health posts. even in the past. It's just an allocation process.
Right.
So the president has given an example. Taking money from one pocket into the other does not create new money. So it's not something that we should be grateful for. In any case, the people of Zambia are entitled, including people of Mazambuka. They are entitled. It's not a privilege. It's an entitlement to have development brought to them by the government, the party government. The party government does not own the resources.
Okay.
It simply administers. So I hope we're clear on this. So let's move on to the next question.
We are clear. Let's talk about the decentralization before we move on. 40 million has been given to each constituency. Of course, you are saying
You're bringing on CDF again.
I think let's move on.
Let's just move on.
Let's move on.
All right.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
The issue that
You are wasting our 1 hour. Yeah, you are wasting our 1 hour.
I wanted, we are here to conversate, so we should have a conversation.
Yeah.
And,
No, but you're planning on CDF.
all right.
We are not here to campaign for UPNG.
We didn't pay to come and campaign for UPNG now. I'm sorry.
Let's talk about how we are going to run this fund differently.
No, we're not running any fund.
Yeah,
that is
move
not
away
CDF.
from CDF. We have
Let's do this. Jacob, what we have said is this. What you are raising is incorrect. And I've given you, I've quoted the law. So I've even indicated to you how CDF is. It is not a new thing. CDF was introduced in 1998. Right? I was in Parliament in 1998. The issue that has changed of moving money from one allocation, which is under the provincial administration, into the CDF is simply a movement of funds. It's not an increase in funds at all.
Okay.
It's not correct. So let's move on to the other issues.
Let's talk about
we want to raise issues about the districts and decentralization. All right? There has been no decentralization. You know that local government has collapsed entirely. There's no question of the local government existing at the moment with any level of authority. So I don't think that that's even an issue. Everybody knows the councils are not able to pay their salaries on timely basis. Those that are supposed to provide services like garbage collection, like construction of roads here in Mazambuka itself, they are desperate for roads. So why is there no money being allocated to that particular part by this government? So we don't agree. Especially as Socialist Party, our job is to change the way the government is done, not the manner in which an individual political party wants to operate. That is what we're saying to you. So let's move on to the next issue that we'd like to raise.
All right, we can look at the Act number 13, which is the number 7, is now Act number 13.
Yes.
Doctor, you opposed this bill, which is now law.
Does that make it right? Because it was approved? Does it make that law right?
Well, I just
You
want
can
to
have the law. You can have the law. Look at it this way. You can have a law that is people do not accept, right? Because you have got the numbers in Parliament. Because the purpose of Parliament is to pass laws. So if the majority of the people, not even the majority of Parliament, I'm saying majority of the people that are present in Parliament at that particular point in time, say, let us accept this because we are from UPNG, it will be done. That doesn't make it right. So the issue that you are raising here is it's very, very clear to us. Bill 7 will come to want people. Even implementing it is going to be an impossible thing. There is no way you can have a parliament that passes 70 bills in 10 days. It's a facade. It's just a superfluous. It is not even useful for us to even discuss that. And people have opposed it as many times as we can. The passing by one political party does not make it right. So let's move on to the next question.
Right. What do you propose to do?
We'll reverse it. We'll reverse it immediately. It will be reversed. Bill 7 is not correct. It has to be dealt with. It has to be to go through the processes that are necessary, that are appropriate for this.
I think we can change the direction of the discourse. Our people are facing serious problems.
Okay.
We have a population of 22 million people, Zambians. And this population is growing at a national average of 3.5% per annum, 4.5% in urban areas. Which means in the next 12 to 15 years, Zambia will have not less than 44 million people. We have challenges looking after 22 million. We are not able to provide them with jobs. For most people, without a job, they cannot earn a living. To earn money, it's either you have a job in the economy or you have a business in the economy. We have a deficit of housing, 4.5 million deficit of housing. We have problems with education. We have schools today, like in one of my villages, where there are 1,080 kids at the school with 4 classroom blocks and 10 teachers, which means each class has 160 kids. These children are not learning. They go in, they come out in the same way they went. A teacher has got only about 3 seconds or so, or 6 seconds per child. We have hospitals today with still many challenges, no doctors, and so on. Agriculture is in shambles today. Even a province like Southern Province, that is producing almost 40%, 47% of our 5.1 million capacity, and is leading even in the small animals like goats, sheep, and so on, still enduring very high poverty levels as well. What programs do we have in place as a nation? Forget about who is running government, but just look at it as a nation. To be able to catch up for an increase of another 22 million in the population within a scale of 12, 15 years. Our population used to double every 20 years. Now it's doubling every 12, 15 years, it's doubling. How are you going to deal with the many challenges people are facing? This is what our leadership should focus on. We have challenges. And we are saying these are not small problems. We are sitting on a time bomb. And we have no time for narrow-mindedness. We have to be very broad-minded. These are serious problems. And as I said earlier, on 70% of our population is of young people. The median age today, the average age is 18.3. In some rural areas, it's 16.8. Which means we have a huge age group that is producing children. It's producing children at a very fast rate. But these producers of children have no jobs, have no income, have no housing, have nowhere to go. They are producing those children in the homes of their parents. They finish school, they go to college, they go to university, they still come back and sleep where they used to sleep. And they produce children there who they can't look after. These are not small challenges. We are not expanding agriculture. We are not expanding mining. We are not even collecting enough income from mining. We are not collecting enough income from mining. And those who give us money, who lend us money, are telling us so. We are even giving away income. When this government came into power in 2021, the mineral royalties were at 6%. It slashed to 3%. Literally giving away money to the mining transitional corporation. These are the challenges that we must focus on. We have to find solutions to these issues. We are lucky God gave us a beautiful country with good soils, water, and so on. Minerals underneath. But we are still poor. We are still poor. Agriculture that is supposed to be the mainstay of our livelihoods, of our economy, as I said earlier on, is only producing 3.5% of our GDP. That means the majority, over 80% or so, people are still finding it very, very difficult to earn a decent living. And only 15% of our arable land is under cultivation. Only 15%. And that 15%, only 5% of our arable land or of our agriculture is under irrigation. Only 5%. 95% is rain-fed. If rain is delayed by 1 month, it's problems. In the middle of the agricultural season, rain goes for 1 month, it's problems. Rain stops a month area, is problems. And only 0.02% is mechanized. By mechanized, I mean just a simple tractor. 21st century, we are still cultivating with a hoe and using animal labor. The world has moved. We are left in the 17th, 18th century agriculture. How do you compete? What factories are in Southern Province, agricultural factories? None.
We have Zambia sugar.
Well, let me share with you then, just to complement what the president said. Kalomo was the biggest producer of maize in this province. I'm now talking to you as former Minister of Agriculture. Biggest producer. What's the story now? The story is different. It's no longer the biggest producer. It has shifted now. Eastern Province, in Pedagogy. So what happens to the jobs that were created because Kalomo was the biggest producer? Even Zambia sugar, it will not stay the same. What we're saying is that you have to look at it differently. You have to look at the industries that are going to create job opportunities. Because of the point we've just made, there is unemployment amongst the young people who are growing. That additional population is needing jobs. It is even when you have trained your people, you have right now we've got qualified doctors, qualified nurses who cannot get jobs here in this country, including Southern Province. Yet people are needing these services. How are you going to get there? Is it by the methods that we're talking about now?
Zambia sugar, you're talking about Zambia sugar.
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Has Zambia sugar increased jobs in Mazambuka? People are losing jobs due to AI irrigation methods. Yeah. Where are you taking those people?
Where would they go?
Where would they go? What industries have you developed for them in the agricultural sector? Nothing. They have lost their jobs. Those jobs are gone due to technology. I'm not saying technology is bad, but we have to plan for it. We have to factor it in. You don't just lose jobs. And the sugar is not a new company. It's not a new initiative. It has been here for a very long time. And also sugar, sugar is a dying industry in the world. There are countries that have just stopped producing. The consumption of sugar is changing. And Southern Province can do far much better. Like I said, we have 5.1 million animals. About 47% of them are here in Southern Province. What leather industries do we have here? Are we making shoes? Are we making handbags? Are we processing meat? If there are canned beef in Southern Province being produced? What are the people of Southern Province getting as jobs from the country? And 5.1 million is too small. It's too small a number for the whole country. That's all you have in terms of animals. Even if we say people are rich, they are rich, it's only 5.1 million animals, the whole Zambia. The whole Zambia. So the issue is how do we make the people of Southern Province first increase their stocks of animals? 2, care for those animals in a better way. Vet medicines. Do we produce vet medicines in Southern Province of Zambia? We don't. What do we produce to take care of our animals? Do we have exports of this to Asia, to Europe? None. A little bit that goes to Congo. Just a little bit.
And we still have the issue of
Yes.
diseases like dengue right here.
Having in Pongo, transported in small canters to Kasumbalesa, that's an industry. We have failed to fulfill, an offer we are given, by Saudi Arabia of 1 million goats per month or per annum. I don't know. Per annum. We have failed. We don't have 1 million goats. We don't have.
I thought that bill was cancelled or something.
No, but the issue is you have to create opportunities. You have to create job opportunities in Southern Province in order to provide a resource, if you want, income in Southern Province, which people can then use to expand into other industries. That is the issue at hand.
Okay.
And we're creating the jobs.
What agricultural programs are in Southern Province that are going to cater for the double the population in 12 to 15 years?
And not just
Do we have irrigation? What program for irrigation do we have to increase productivity in Southern Province? Because the soils are still very good, and the people have horticulture of agriculture. You can't just start exporting them to other places. There will be all sorts of problems created by that. What we need is to bring water to Southern Province from the Kasiwe and the other rivers that pass through or near Southern Province, and improve irrigation systems. We need to create technology hubs in Southern Province and other places in Zambia so that agriculture production increases. The production is too low, even the productivity per hectare. When he was Minister of Agriculture, he sent me the yields per hectare of maize in Zambia, per province. It was frightening. The highest per hectare production was Muchinga. Southern Province was, I think, number 4 or number 5 there. Eastern Province, I think, number 3 or something there, or number 2. Western Province was the West. Even the fertilizers we are using, you can't have fertilizer for the whole country that is the same. Because the soils are different. The rain patterns are different. So there is so much that needs to be done in agriculture. Is it being done? And if we continue at this pace and we are beating our chests that we are making progress very well, what problem are we solving? When you look at progress, look at the impact it's having on people's lives. We want our people to live better. It's not just criticizing whoever is in government. No, with or without us, the country should move forward. People should live better. Our participation in politics is motivated by the desire to ensure that our people live a happier life that God created them for. And a happy life comes from having a solid roof over your head, having food for your children and yourself, having access to health services of the quality in line with the times in which you live, having a better education for your children, and having clean water and sanitation. Do our people have this today? Are they going to have them? Have they had them over the last 5 years? What programs did we have over the last 5 years to give them this? How successful are those programs if they were there? What is the status today? And what does the future hold? Given all these things we're saying about the population growth and so forth. These are not small issues, these are big issues.
Okay.
And this is what should consume our time. Not seeking praise for this and that. It's too cheap.
Okay. So let's move on to another issue that I think is very important, certainly for Southern Province. Yeah. What are the additional jobs that you're going to create, opportunities that are going to create for businesses, for example? Look at the Kafue River, from which you get most of the water that is coming from Mazambuka here and for the Zambia sugar. Right? The biggest floodplains, right, are just above us here, correct? Yeah, Namala and all the other places. Because how are we going to do it? Because Zambia has got 40% of the fresh water resource, both surface and underground, in Southern Africa. In Southern Africa,
40%.
40%.
Okay.
What are you going to use it for?
How are we going to increase the employment levels? How are we going to increase the opportunities? The country imports 60% of the 64% to be specific of all the cooking oil that we use, what we call edible oils, is imported from Malaysia. Can we not change that? We have to import even what we use for cooking oil or for making soap and so on and so forth. So these are the issues that we are focusing on. Your local government is broken down, whether you like it or not. The roads that we're talking about here require the issue of increased revenue. So let's move on to revenue side, on the government side, right? The government depends almost entirely on the mines. But you've reduced the mineral royalty tax that President Membe was just talking about. You reduced the mineral royalty tax from 6%, which is around $460 million, okay? And you brought it to 3%, which is half of that amount. So where are you going to get the additional revenue to cover for that drop in the government revenues? Where are you going to get it from? You've got to get it from another way. Unless you increase the mineral royalty tax itself to increase the revenues from government. Now, how do you increase even the tolls that you're talking about here? If people do not have money to buy the vehicles, who is going to be paying for that? How about expanding the roads to dual carriageway that we have talked about? How about the local government roads? In other words, you're talking about rural roads. How are you going to do that? How are you going to fund it? How are you going to fund government? Let's go to another side about revenue, okay? In 2005, we reached, this country reached what was called HIPIC completion point. HIPIC, if you remember. And all the debt of the government at the time, 7.2 billion was written off, completely written off. Zero debt. How much are we owing now? 20 years later. 20 years later, how much are we owing the world? And I'll tell you the figures. According to government, they told us about 15 billion is owed to external lenders. No, it is around 25 billion. Okay? Because the UPND government, in fact, in their 5-year tenure, they have increased that amount by more than 10 billion. Okay? It was at 15 billion they found, it's at more than 25 billion. And locally, owing to local suppliers, I'm talking about people who supply food products, I'm talking about traders that are doing, I'm talking about people who supply power and so on and so forth, is another 252 billion kwacha, equivalent to about 13, 14 billion US dollars, right? So because the government is doing that, people do not have the income, and therefore you can reduce your inflation to even 6% as we are doing today. How is that impacting the people's income? How is that helping to increase incomes for the people who must spend in order to create the revenue that the government needs? How are you going to do that? Those are the challenges we are facing. Those are the issues that the Socialist Party is actually confronting. We are talking about changing the manner in which government is run, the manner in which government earns its income, the manner in which they can expand. You talk about increase even in the production of copper, which the president has talked about, the 3 million, which will be possible in the first place, because I worked on the mines, and I can tell you that's a dream. Okay, it won't happen. And you are all young enough to know that in 3 years' time you will not have 3 million. Okay, but having said that, the question is, how will you raise the money for those children that have been born from that young population? Because the next entry into schools will rise from 350,000, which we're doing now, every year. 350,000 children enter grade 1. We need to move on to the next stage. So if you're going to have 600,000 children, how are you going to fund it? With what? So the revenue from government, you cannot continue to depend on other countries. They won't continue to support you. Right now you've got external debt. And this UPND government says they have rescheduled the debt, therefore they've solved the problem. You haven't solved the problem.
You're not commending them for restructuring.
No, far from it. What you're saying is the next generation, the young generation that is now young, all right, the 19.3 years average, all right, are the ones that are going to pay for it.
But it means you can pay it in installments and
but
conveniently.
How are you going to manage that? How are you going to manage it? From what? You are not managing now. You are borrowing every time. You are having to borrow.
Well, Doctor, maybe you wanted to come in before we get to how...
Yes, maybe we can come in. the issue of debt restructuring. When you restructure a debt, it doesn't mean the debt is written off. You are simply saying, I can't pay today. Let me pay days after, or years after. The purpose of that is to give you a chance, breathing space to raise more money and survive at the same time, increase your production capacity. If you can do that, you may stand a better chance of passing on a lesser burden. But when you are not collecting enough revenues at the same time, that doesn't work. You have simply passed on a burden to the future.
At the rate we are getting revenue, is it possible to pay
No,
back?
it's not. Yeah. We have passed on a burden. I come to this issue of inflation. The UPND government has been praising this effort that will push inflation to a single digits. The simplest definition of inflation is too much money chasing quickly. It sounds too simple, but it's very correct. It's very correct. Too much money chasing quickly. So if you want to reduce inflation, you can reduce the too much money, isn't it? Or increase the too few goods, or balance both properly. Which is the easiest thing? The easiest thing is to reduce the too much money. Increasing production takes time, and it's a lot of work. Production of goods and services takes time, and it's not an easy thing to do. Our friends went for the easiest thing, to reduce the too much money, by monetary instruments, increase the bank reserve ratios, issue more treasury bills, and so on.
Suck money out of the
Suck money out of the system. You are literally
You're not commending them for increasing the reserves.
Just listen for a moment.
Yes. Try to understand. They suck the money out of the economy, reduce the liquidity. Who is benefiting from this sucking of money? It's the transitional corporations that are banking. They buy treasury bills, profits, and the profits and when you reduce money so quickly, the supply of money so quickly, you are hitting at effective demand. Instantly, you are hitting at effective demand. What it means is that a family that was eating 3 meals a day, they started eating 2 meals a day. That which was eating 2 meals a day, they started eating 1 meal a day. Which also means the things they were buying at the market, they also reduce.
You can no longer buy the same amount.
Yes. When they are reducing what they are buying at the market, it means the marketeer, who is also ordering from the farmers and others, also reduces what they are ordering. It means those who are producing on the farms and other places also reduce the production. When production reduces, it means also jobs are being lost at every stage. When demand is going, jobs are being lost at every stage. And that's what has happened to this economy. You have countries that have double digits, with big economies, with probably better economies. They are not forced to suffer double digits. They are scared of this same thing we are talking about. They can do the same, reduce the money supply and get into single digits, but it impacts the economy. It contracts the economy. When production goes, the economy is contracting.
Buying power is reduced.
Yes, these are the consequences. It's like medicine. You can have a headache today. You can take a Panadol, or you can go for morphine. Morphine is instant. You will not feel headache at all. The Panadol, it will be gradual. Why do doctors give you Panadol and they don't give you morphine or pathogen immediately? There are consequences of those instant reliefs. There are consequences, serious negative effects. Even when you are suffering from malaria, it can be wiped out by quinine. But nobody will give you quinine immediately. They give you lesser drugs. And it takes time to cure the malaria. They don't go for quinine. Quinine will destroy you, can make your liver bad, and so on. So this is what we are doing to this economy. And we are talking from an informed position. This is not the way to go. They are destroying the economy, or they have destroyed the economy, and they can see the consequences of it. The consequences of it is poverty. Southern Province today is enduring poverty levels of 63.5%, from 56.2%, 56.2% to 63.5%.
As of when?
That's the 2022 June-July survey.
Okay.
By Zamsex. These are Zamsex figures I'm giving you. They are not from my head. They are Zamsex figures. The poverty level is in the Southern Province today is 63.5% from 57.6%. That's why when we talk about progress, I was asking you, give you the figures. You I'm giving you the figures from a government agency that is paid with your taxes. Mm-hmm. It's there you can check.
Right.
June, July 2022 survey.
We'll do a contrast with before then. But let's get
I've
to
given you the figure before.
that is according to when?
Zamstats.
Of course, that's 2022.
The poverty
one that
level
you
has
gave.
moved from 57.6%.
57 was when?
From move on this way.
But
I need to see it in the space of how many years?
I'm talking about even the tenure of the European government. That has continued.
You can try to defend here what cannot.
I'm not defending, I'm trying to see the progress and how.
You are. Let's move on.
Wow.
Let's move on.
Mr. Nasumba, how are the campaigns going? We are less than 25 days to go.
The campaigns are just okay. You can depend on whatever constituency. Our campaigns are available to know what would be 5. What then would the Baruli party, whatever would be Vincent Miranda, a mayor of Gondela Liberia, Jim Nova campaign, Palatum Yamazvas, Alata. Find that we would have what I became campaign 2 days in each ward. But you find that we are bending in the ward yesterday campaign. By UPND, Varangila disturbing my programs. When they heard that Masumba, who St. Patrick's ground rally and the tournament for the youth was central ward, Bagabola Rimba UPND, Batawui, Adirimba, 10 hours, at the same ground, nearby school, St. Patrick's. They made also a simple rally, giving additional t-shirts. No matter how much they have machinery, they will campaign about they have everything. But the people's choice would depend on the ballot on that day. The government Mazambuka people right now, Mr. Malam, I want to tell you, they can't pretend. When you see people being in numbers at the secretariat of the UPN, they are not following to vote. They are just going there to eat and get t-shirts. When they come back, no, we are not going to vote for this one. Adopt a candidate with them. Why are they saying that? They are looking at a candidate who has a potential to finish what the President Membe was talking about here. But whatever President Membe has talked about, those are in my manifesto. Because in Mazambuka, we need more jobs. Young Heroes was in Mazambuka, because how many workers were in Young Heroes? And Young Heroes, what made Young Heroes? Because cadres from the UPND, they are the workers there. When a private company comes to open an industry, the UPND should not have enforced their laws to a private sector, because there are rules and regulations that govern this country. Example, Ganda Mujra company in Mazambuka. Ganda Mujaba Mushiki, then my UPND chairman about only the employees or your karate or people without a normal procedure. They are human resource. You are going to destroy investment in Mazambuka, because a lot of investors, they have run away because of pressure from what? From the ruling party. Pressure ndomuleta ruling party kuma companies ari muloko. Even Monka Zambia Sugar, where home to Mariski, we need the corruption to come to an end. But corruption iramana kuti kumazabwa kuti varuling party iwe mutora malist yamahina vakukampani kugandesiwa mukuchirwe vantu vese. Meaning those people vapengede vari vulnerable vanhu. They won't have access, they will access because only the list from the UPND. Alimwabora issue empowerment, CDF. I was surprised Ramaram would about it. CDF is a Baumuga into a cancer. Is it normal in Mazambuka? Giving a loan, Mapa loan 200,000 Muga into a cancer, sure. So a lot of women, Ramaga into Mumama, you saw what happened in Samarambo. Being a youth, when I reached in a campaign, how women would sort of the drama problems. It forced Mr. Skin and the campaigning manager for the president to come and say, we want photos with you. I said, for what? He on my day, because they saw that pressure that one year because myself, we have suffered for a long time. Between the competition, getting Combo and Iran. Because Ankede and the big machine, these are independent candidates. Getting Combo and Iran, they will share the votes, I'm telling you. And these votes are only from the UPND supporters. And remember that Mazambuka, the wind is changing. You move on opposition. The wind is going to the opposition. Because they have seen how the liars from the UPND, they are tired of lies. When you want an application, you see everywhere, it won't be considered what will come with punishment. Myself, never done UPND, never remember UPND. But really, it's how youths are suffering in the same part. If youths from the same UPND, they are suffering, what of others who are not politically affiliated? But I need members who are different also. Our problems. Our problems are made the wide and expansion ya roads, you are Bambaga Maroda, how much abo. Mama Shina is Agaligua, Baga Wing Engineering Department Ramarambo, you are aware about that. If we spend about 14 million, we will Mama Shina. It's more like in a house, Munganda Maola Mipira, then it Agumusu. Then we just pack those boats and say, they will be used for future purpose. For what reason? You buy machinery, then you say there is no fuel. Maola machine about fuel or cans. It's an embarrassment, Mr. Maram. In a new done government where leaders were elected in Mazambuka, they buy machinery, a full set of machinery to have proper roads in Mazambuka. What it means is to have eligible leaders on the position of that. Over an MP. The mayor, we need a mayor who is technically qualified to be a mayor of Mazambuka. My candidate, Kapamba Mwawa, failed to file in nomination because the town is like was nowhere to be seen. She comes in, she goes back in, I'm rushing to my God. I'll come back and because she was the only one who is the GEO, district elected officer, to do the filing nomination for a mayor. So the Socialist Party failed to file in nomination for a mayor. And the contrary year went and opposed. Not that he was only special.
Is it not that you failed to feed in a candidate?
The candidate was there. But the way they were running the nomination, you saw what happened, even Gary Combo was attacked by the thugs from the UPND. That saying there was no catalysis. Because Gary Combo was a member of the UPND. The time Gary Combo was attacked, his me was doing the following nomination. So it means that in Mazambuka, we want one, we need to unite Mazambuka. So the message of the Socialist Party is number one, justice, equity, and peace. When these three elements would go, solidarity no award. When we see someone suffering as a member of the Socialist, I need to put it in my shoes. I'm a problem that when I'm going to come a program special, I'm going to speak about I respond well.
All right, let's get to hear from the listener out there and get interact. Of course, we'll talk more when you come for the routine radio program for aspiring candidates. Good afternoon. Lost our call. 0974-3474-96. That is the number. Mr. President, maybe as we are waiting calls, you wanted to echo on what the candidate has said.
Yeah. The most important thing in this election is not just to change one party and this leader for another. It's to change the way the country is run, which even
Yes, you can go ahead.
If we don't change the way the country is governed, we are going nowhere. For 61 years, we have been ruled by the politician alone. And it's very clear to everyone that the politician alone cannot manage this country. And he's not the only leader of our people. There are other leaders of our people. We have traditional leaders. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the religious leaders. They are authentic leaders of our people. We have the business leaders. We have the trade union leaders. We have those in the cooperatives. We have the professionals, yourselves, the intellectuals. All these need to come in and participate in the governance of the country in their own rights. If we leave it the politician alone, we are going nowhere. And in fact, if you look at the world, countries that are run properly, countries where there's progress, countries where people are living better, they are not governed this way. Look at the UK, where we talk a lot of things. Who is the head of state? It's a traditional leader, the king. Then you have the religious institution, the Church of England. It's part of the state apparatus, which you call the Anglican here. Then you have the House of Lords, where people who have excelled in various fields of life come to try and guide society. Then you have the House of Commons, where everybody gathers to elect the politicians that who will do on the 15th of August, led by the Prime Minister. That's how the UK is governed. And the UK, we are calling the UK, it's not one country alone. There are 4 countries in that country. There is Scotland, for the tribe called the Scottish, who are 5 million. They have got their own parliament. They have got even their own currency, the Scottish pound. You have Wales, with 3 million people, for the Welsh people. They have got their own parliament, and they use their own language, Welsh. Then you have got Northern Ireland, for the Irish, with their own parliament, they use their own language. And then you have got England. And each one of them has got even their own national soccer team that goes to the World Cup, competes for the World Cup space. England is not the UK. When you hear England play, it's England. There is a Scottish national team. There is Northern Ireland. There is Wales. They just didn't qualify. It's only England that qualified. So, if you do not accept that plurality in the governance of the country, going forward it will be very difficult in terms of governance. And it's not only the UK. Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Spain, Austria, Portugal, Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, and the Arab countries that are stable. They are governed that way. It's not only one group.
Okay.
So we need to increase the participation of our people in the governance of their country.
As we come to a close, Mr. Masumba, in a minute, what are you telling the Mazambuka community, and why should they vote for you?
Why they should vote for me? Governor Mazambuka chondanda kuti mukakundisale mu 2026 ake 18 August kamuka kuti mwajengwa wahula mwakasola obwabobu mwali kutengwa kuti vote for change takoera mutole mubone muntu utira musunge kavotu oyo ujisi moyo wa busoroli, especially imba mayuthi abakayinjino muri imbondera kumuleta kwa hwine as a leader mubuyumuyu abububo ingati billions and omwe wabamalira ingati bantu omwe in all the problems ya Mazambuka ingalira available mego buli ndimo. So ndaranganya kuti njirerera kuti kabumwimine ku parliament atwambo tomujisi amana amuntu uwakakomena mu Mazambuka akuyira ku Mazambuka wendiro kwa St. Edmunds mwana we ngo mwali komenera mu Zambia compound mu stage 2 wandika akawumulera achiunoja bwe mutikutheba kuti Masumba mundi unoja socialist party utakalangani ijuno ya kuti waimira muchifaniki so twalumba ali mulimo yakufitambula pabola aleti mubabika balo ba president ajuno ba Membe.
All right. As we come to a close, Doctor, why should the Zambian people choose the Socialist Party?
The Zambian people have seen the performance of those who are seeking power today. They have seen the performance of Mr. Hichilema and the UPND. They have also seen the performance of those who lost power in 2021 who want to come back. They have seen their performance. They know them. It's very clear Mr. Hichilema has failed politically and economically to lead this country. There's no question about it. He has brought tensions that we have never seen before. He has brought divisions that have never been seen before in our country politically. Economically, poverty is growing by the day. Hunger is deepening. We are the fifth hungriest country in the world today, poorest country in the world today. Even if you give him another 5 years, it will be another wasted 5 years. 5 years of deepening political divisions, 5 years of deepening regional divisions and ethnic divisions, 5 years of deepening poverty, 5 years of growing unemployment, 5 years of growing desperation, and also 5 years of brutality. He had shown that he's brutal in his governance. You can see it even in the way Gary Nkombo was treated here in Mazambuka. A founder of the UPND, a leader of the UPND that has been there for a very long time, who has served Mr. Hichilema so well. Immediately they have some differences. Look at the brutality meted on him. If Gary Nkombo can be treated that way, what about us? Who are we? It shows you a merciless approach to politics, a heartless approach to governance. This is not leadership that this country needs. This is not leadership that can unite this country. If we cannot even unite people in one district of Mazambuka, today there are divisions in Mazambuka. People are hunting for each other. People are fighting each other. How can he unite people? The whole country. If Mazambuka can't be united, just divisions within his party are causing so much tension in Mazambuka. Thirdly, those who beat up Gary Nkombo today, they are around in Saichiri, walking freely. Is this the Zambia we want? No. Is this the governance that we need? No. Southern province can do better. Mazambuka can do better. The whole Zambia can do better under a different type of leadership. So we are not staying with the status quo. We can't keep Saichiri in power again. Let him go and look after his country that have increased over the last 5 years.